So I just saw the video of something that is like clearly the most Reddit moment of the Reddit history, and it's like the interview from Fox News with the head moderator, head mod, like they call him, of the Reddit channel, the Reddit, what's called subreddit, which is a little part of Reddit, called ANTIWORK, and it was like really savage, and I don't know how to say this, but it's like maybe the worst interview like ever. You know, like I cannot believe that actually happened, and I was like really surprised about every I don't know like about like how can anti-work moderators think of sending that person. I mean, to do that completely unprepared, completely like seem completely like ignorant of the Fox News methods of interviews. I mean, the interview like was like, I mean, to me was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, you know, and everybody's like, and you could see for the first like 10 seconds, you know, the host of Fox News knew that it was like a win for him, because like it was completely like kind of nonsense and not really like helping anything about like anti-woke movement, which is like whatever side of political side you're on, anti-woke is like to the general people that are there is like how people needs to afford a life, and their pay should be following the inflation. That's it. You know, the cost of life should be people should be able to live normally, and the pay should raise the same way it raised with the inflation. That's probably it, and not and also what they want is that one person working in a family should be able, with the working normal hours, should be able to provide for the family. That's probably what I understood about that subreddit, but like it was like crazy. So the interview was like started like something like it started like this, you know, like hey Doreen, so tell us about like the movement and everything. So she said something, I don't remember what she said, but like it went on something like um, the host was like something, hey, but we know that a lot of people think the anti-woke people are lazy, just like a bunch of lazy people. And Doreen, the head mod of Reddit anti-woke, said, oh yeah, like I quote, laziness is virtue. And I'm like, what? You know, like the last thing that the people like viewing Fox News, what they want to hear is actually like hear like lazy people talking on Fox News. You know, they want to hear like are working, or some people that are relatable to them. And there you had this Doreen, this person completely unprepared, like in a webcam. Like that was probably like the quality that I have now filming now, because I filmed Dark Place. But like it was like completely, you know, completely like the laziness in the way that the person talked, the laziness in the preparation of the setup. I mean, it was like really like some women that are like really cringe, and that like I mean like I did not expect that. You know, I saw a lot of like cringy stuff on Reddit, and like completely like out of place stuff. But like this is what's the most like Reddit thing, and this is actually what the people expect from Reddit moderators to be. You know, like that kind of person, like completely out. And the problem I think is that um, when when you get someone that is like the end mode and that is used to ban people with a click when they're not happy with the what they say, and now you have like a real life debate, uh, and that's completely different settings. You know, you cannot like mute the host of Fox that is saying like trying to say stuff, and I think like I think maybe if you consider it like the way that maybe that the original anti-work was at the beginning, it kind of makes sense because it was supposed to be like an anarchist stuff, you know, where people don't want to work. But the problem is that even if you don't want to work, you know, like you're still kind of expected to provide a little bit back to the community. So it's like not work because you're not get paid, but you do something, you know, you provide a value, you know. And I think that the dream was like in the old way of anti-work, you know, not working, laziness is best, like, and that's it. And the way the following in the interview was like something like, so tell us about your life, which is like mistake number one. The host asks like about the personal life, so it's like a completely mistake in interviews because you're supposed to represent like something bigger than yourself. You're supposed to represent the community of anti-work, so everybody. So the last thing you want to do when you go on an interview is like to talk about like a personal life. So anyway, so that person like went to talk about her life, and she said something like. Yeah, that she's a dog walker, something like that. And Fox News was like, you know, like, okay. And you can see the host, like, he was like never interrupting the Doreen because like he knew that this is like gold, you know, like it's don't stop talking because you're making it worse, you know, for the community, you know, and Fox didn't have anything to do that. That's why you see in the interview at the first place that the host was happy because he saw the footage before. He saw how Doreen was, you know, and he saw maybe she was like not really consistent. So anyway, it goes on and the host was like so happy and she talked about like she's a dog. So usually in the old people ways, you know, like when you do that kind of jobs, like service jobs, it usually means that you're not supposed to make a career out of that, you know. You don't want to have a career. It's like a job like that you do when you're young and then you move on to a better job. But like right now in the US, people are still doing that when they're like 40 something. It's not like really like a college job anymore. So anyway, so Doreen was doing this job like part-time, maybe 20 hours something during the week, probably living in the parent basement or something like that. So and it's difficult to relate, you know, to the anti-work movement because in the anti-work movement that you see all the posts are about like very hardworking people that are suffering from the working condition, that work like 60 hours a week, something like that, like underpaid, you know, not promotion and everything. So Doreen was like the really Reddit Reddit Redditors of anti-work, like so basically dog walker, you know, like for people like much like I would say, I mean, it seemed like they weren't professional, so the setup was not professional. The wins, like the way talking, like for preparation of the interview was like not professional. So basically the work she was doing like not really pro, you know. So the guy was like doing, the host was like saying something like, so what do you want to do later, you know, what do you want to do in life, because it thinks he knows that the viewer of Fox um, thinks that this kind of job, service jobs, is something that you do when you're young, you know, and that later you change, you know, you do a better job. So he took that and he said, hey Doreen, you know, what if you were like a dog warrior, you know, what would you do? And and actually like conversation should have stopped and be like, no, listen, I'm going to talk about the anti-work movement, about what it is, you know, that we want like raise the minimum wage to follow the inflation, you know, because it's not possible now to live in a society where we cannot provide and everything is like completely not affordable. The housing, and it would have been like great, you know, stuff, but she didn't say that. So she said something like, what do you want to do, like if you were not going like a dog walker, you know? And she said like, I want to, oh, maybe I would like to teach like philosophy, or you know, and the host was like, oh yeah, like I'm doing the same face, you know, like, oh yeah, philosophy, yeah, sure, you know, like, you know, like I mean, it was like, oh, so, but what kind of philosophy? And I was like, yeah, maybe I could teach like reasonings, critical thinking, like, you know, like, I mean, it's like not, I mean, like, and even for people, many of the majority of people, you know, like it's like not really understandable because like, Doreen said that she was like kind of lazy, and lazy was like a virtue, and doing like 20 hours work a week and teaching like philosophy, it means that you have to get a PhD and work like so many hours academics, which is like very competitive. So it's like, I mean, it was like not really for me. It was like that did like college grade and that did a doctorate. I mean, like that's not like, I mean, like no, like you don't like teach philosophy like this, you know, like it's not like something like a critical thinking like that, you know. I mean, like it's like wow, well, like wow, what's going on, and that's it. Yeah, and was like, you know, it didn't like make seems good for the hardworking people, like even the with people who teach philosophy. It's not something that you do. Like I mean, I don't like philosophy personally, but like it's kind of still a PhD, so you have to. I can agree it's difficult to do it, but I don't like it. But like it's difficult to have a PhD in philosophy. So so I mean, like everything was like, you know, like what, you know, like something like that. It was like really, oh, it was like really insane. You know, everybody's like, I was like, wow. And like 3 minutes of the interview, and then the host was like, okay, so now we're gonna back, like, so we have to run. We're running out of time, you know, because like there's nothing to say, and the person was like, she was like giggling in her place, you know. We don't know what she was like looking at or something, you know. Like it was like crazy. It was completely unprepared, you know. And I don't know. It's like, I mean, I think that maybe this is it a joke or something like that, you know, like that people can talk about that movement, but like the problem is that the movement is like Doreen went on the closing and reopening, making private the forum, and banning people that were like talking about her, and that's like, wow, that's like really the, I mean, like it's like sabotaging, you know, like it's like crazy to think about that stuff, like, and I was like, you know, man, that could have been the most beautiful thing ever, but like no.